trig identities and NPVs. Find the NPVs for sine theta, secant theta, cosine theta equals 1. So we're going to look at the restrictions. That's what a non-permissible value is. I've already drawn our unit circle here with the coordinates because we'll refer to that as we look at that. There's two things to remember when we're finding restrictions. We need to look at each trig function individually and then look at any expressions that would contain fractions. So in this particular question, we don't have any other fractions to deal with, so we will just have to look at each trig function individually. Sine theta is just our regular sine curve. We do not have any fractions that can be written as. There's no asymptotes in our graph, so there are no restrictions for sine theta. Secant theta, on the other hand, can be written as 1 over cos theta, in which case we have a fraction, and remember, in a fraction you cannot have 0 in the denominator, therefore cosine theta cannot equal 0. So we'll look on the unit circle. Remember, cos theta is our x values, and we will determine where the x values are 0, which would be at pi by 2 and 3 pi by 2. Now we can't just list those two because it's pi by 2, 3 pi by 2, and as we continue in both directions, each of those angles. So we want to say pi by 2 plus a distance of pi n times. So the restriction would be theta cannot equal pi by 2 plus pi n, where n is the element of integers. Okay, now let's look at cotan theta. Cotan theta is 1 over tan theta, but what's going to be more useful is to flip the sine over cos and write it as cos theta over sine theta, and we see that sine theta cannot equal 0. So remember, sine theta is linked to the y values. So when you look at our circle, it's at 0, pi, 2 pi, 3 pi, etc. So again, to write that as an expression so we can list them all, pi n, where n is the element of integers. So we can combine these two. If we look at that, pi by 2, we're here and here. The pi's were here and here. So it's really every 90-degree interval. So our restriction for the entire term is actually combining these two restrictions. So theta cannot equal pi by 2n, where n is the element of integers. And that will be our final answer right there.